Lemonheads, this rules.
Benjamin.
Hello. God bless.
How you doing, brother?
Good. You're live on the air.
That's what I like to hear. How you holding up? I see you're eating your fruits and vegetables.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Feeling good.
You look good.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I've actually been trying to gain a lot of weight the past couple of weeks, and I'm trying to get that belly going. I'm trying to. I feel like if I get, it's hard to keep 2 feet planted on the ground. So I figure maybe if I gain 30 pounds, it'll be a little bit easier not to spiral. Fat guys are always in the pocket. Fat guys, usually if you have like a nice belly to you, it keeps you grounded,
Yeah, when I think of John Daly, I always think of someone who's grounded.
Exactly. 20 Diet Cokes a day, 1 fruit cig. Now, I know you don't have much time. I know you don't have much time today, but me and you share love for the greatest Italian writer besides Dante, of course. And well, I guess I don't know if you count Bruno, but Don DeLillo, Italian American.
Awesome.
So here's what's interesting. Here's what's interesting about him, right? It was probably his greatest work. I would agree with you. Now I've read Mao 2, White Noise, Libra. What's the one about Hitler? Running Dog.
Running Dog. Yeah.
And I don't know if I've read anything else by him. But I feel like I've kind of hit like the major works there, and
those are my favorites.
I think Libra is fantastic. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what it is, the reason we're talking about it is historical fiction, and it's about John F. Kennedy. It's specifically about Lee Harvey Oswald. Now, everybody has conspiracy theories, especially with the new JFK files coming out. 80,000 pages came out. And within a span of 15 minutes, people had already formed an opinion on it somehow, which just once again proves that no one's reading anything. I mean, could you possibly... It's like when a podcast comes out and I'll see within 2 minutes that someone says the episode sucked. I'm like, you didn't even listen to it. So look, I'm not ruling out the timeline of Israel acquiring nuclear weapons. Some say that's why one of the reasons JFK was killed. I think that's a whole hodgepodge of people. Now, I mean, Don DeLillo, he read the everything that there was about John F. Kennedy.
Oh, he read all 20 volumes of the Warren Report.
And this is an Italian guy living in New York City. If he's not blaming it on the Jews, then, I mean, I don't know why I should. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. You know
what I mean?
You certainly should not blame it on the Jewish people because they weren't involved.
I had my sights on, Lyndon B. Johnson, definitely wanted extenuated the war in Vietnam. And there's also nefarious things happening in the CIA there. And you also have the Cuban exiles that are working alongside there. Israel doesn't really, I don't know. I know they acquired nuclear weapons in 1967. And Israel was not happy with John F. Kennedy not wanting them to have nuclear weapons. But again, if Don DeLillo read everything, again, racist Italian novelist, great mind. If he didn't go there, I don't understand why we should. And he does a great job in this book. It's historical fiction, talking about Lee Harvey Oswald. And you're sympathetic not only toward Lee Harvey Oswald, but towards Jack Ruby, who is Jewish. But he's more paranoid than he is Jewish.
He was avenging Kennedy.
Right.
And he said he did it. He said he did it because he didn't want Jackie to suffer through a trial.
I think he also said he did it for his people or something along those lines.
I haven't heard that quote, but
wasn't he in the book? Wasn't he seeing billboards and he thought they were targeted toward him and everything?
I don't remember that part. He was a big nightclub owner in the Dallas area. He owned a number of strip clubs, I think, or at least 2 strip clubs. He's a fascinating figure too,
Yes,
on
he
top
is.
of everything else.
As fascinating as Lee Harvey Oswald. Now,
man, that guy.
Well, this is the thing. I'm like, no one wants to talk about Lee Harvey Oswald, but it is. I mean, the patsy. If you think he is a patsy, it's like, all right, let's unpack that. Who was the patsy? How did he fall into this?
Yeah, well, I don't think he was a patsy. I think he was a determined Marine with a bolt-action scoped rifle. That's what I think he was.
Well, we have proof he tried to kill a far right. Was it a guy running? Was it an attorney general or something like that, or a guy running for Senate?
No, he was a retired lieutenant. He was either a retired lieutenant general or brigadier general, and he tried to put a bullet in the guy's head from like 20 yards, but people believed that the bullet struck the glass in a certain way.
It's actually a pretty funny part in the book too, because
it is.
At some point, I kind of feel like Lee Harvey Oswald is like Wile E. Coyote or something. It feels very Looney Tunes. It's hilarious, actually.
It's totally Looney Tunes.
He's very similar to like Harrogate from Sutri, you know?
Yeah, he makes him into a... Well, in DeLillo's hands, Oswald is somehow a tragic figure, which is so... That's how skilled DeLillo is.
Oswald shot at Walker. His name was General Edwin Walker. So this is in April of 1963. Right. Oswald shot at Walker through a window from less than 100 feet away, and he missed. The man was just sitting at his desk in his Dallas home. So,
yeah, the window is a factor there, right? So depending on how that round from that Mannlicher carbine struck the window, it very well could have diverted. It doesn't mean that Oswald was a bad shot, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, from what I understand, he's actually a pretty damn good shot.
He was an excellent shot. He earned both an expert marksmanship badge in the Marine Corps and a sharpshooter badge. He was a terrific shot. I've looked at his range cards. His range cards are quite impressive, and that's... I believe what the Marines did then, they may still do it now. They shot at for that score. They shot at 200-yard targets with open sights, with iron sights. So a guy who can like put rounds, down range, and with those groupings he got with. I guess he probably would have been training on the M14 or the Garand with like a rifle with iron sights, 200 yards. That's pretty skillful shooting.
Now, in the book, so very quickly, we'll kind of sum up everything with Oswald. He went to Russia. He tried to kill himself. He had been in contact, supposedly, according to DeLillo, with a lot of different factions in the CIA. And
that's the part I don't buy personally.
Okay,
that's the part I don't buy personally. Yeah, but DeLillo like gets he has a lot of fun with that.
He's having a good time writing this, and
great time.
So when Lee Harvey Oswald is taking the shots, Lee Harvey Oswald realizes that someone else is also shooting. Now, this is not. I think I was even seeing that Washington acknowledged in the early 70s that there had to be more than one shooter. This isn't something that filmmakers just figured out like 15 years ago. Like Oliver Stone wasn't the first guy to be like, no, this has been kind of a theory for a long time. In fact, I don't know if you've seen this. Richard Nixon making a joke on TV in the 70s about...
Amazing.
Have you seen him make that joke about hinting that Lyndon B. Johnson had John F. Kennedy killed?
No, but I mean that was a popular conspiracy around that time. It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, Nixon's paranoid. It would make sense he believes it. But regardless, this. So I got this pulled up here. So Aaron, I don't know if you can see on the screen, but I have Dilly Plaza here, right? So here is the here's the underpass, right? He's going this way. Lee Harvey Oswald just happened to be working at the Texas School Book Depository, right? Wasn't he working?
Right.
Yeah, so he was working here. He was in New Orleans before this, and supposedly his handler in the CIA called him and said, "Hey, how about you move to Dallas? We can get you a job here, right?" And supposedly these people in the CIA in the book were in contact with people in Miami and other cities, and John F. Kennedy knew that they were staging something in these, and that's why he didn't go to Miami, right? In the book. I believe this is what I remember. I read it like a year and a half ago. I should have reread it before calling you, but so they moved him here. They tell him that, hey, Kennedy happens to be going right by where you work. What a coincidence! You could be a hero. You could kill him. You'd be a communist hero. Then come to this movie theater. We'll pick you up. We'll ship you off, and there'll be a ticker tape parade for you. How's that sound? So and in the book, when he's taking the shots here, he knows he misses with one of the shots, but then he sees a hit, and he knows someone else is firing from another location, which would be, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this past the railroad yard here, there is a parking lot where supposedly, is it Cuban exiles are taking shots, or is someone hired by the CIA to take the real shot? Because obviously they don't trust Oswald. They just need a patsy so they can get away with this. In the book.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how that plays out in the book. But yeah, so in DeLillo's conception of this, part of what happens has to do with rogue elements in the CIA who have been kind of put out to pasture because of their anger over how Kennedy handled the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Correct.
Look at that shot. Look at that shot when he's coming down, when he's going, I don't have the directions here. It looks like north. But he's going toward the schoolbook depository at 5 miles an hour. Gosh, what an easy shot that is, huh?
Yeah, you mean the first shot? The second and the third are a little bit harder. But the first shot in the book are the one that probably goes through his wrist.
Right. But even the shot, I mean, you're firing from an elevated position, right? So you have to do a trig formula in your head, which Oswald would have known. He would have been trained to do it on the fly. But then that 240-yard shot at the back of Kennedy's car, that's easy shooting with a scoped rifle. Man, it's 120 yards, easy.
Yeah, and the book doesn't deny that Oswald did hit him. It's just that there was another shooter. Now, you've done a ton of research on this. You are a war historian. You talk to mercenaries, you talk to all sorts of killing machines out there. And what do you make of this whole thing? And by the way, even if you don't agree with the book, it's incredible.
The book's incredible.
It's amazing. I mean, you're talking about, it goes from Lee Harvey Oswald when he was a little boy in the Bronx all the way up until, it's not like historical fiction where it's like, Tarantino has, Eli Roth shooting Hitler in a movie theater and burning it down. It's historical fiction, but it's what Don DeLillo thinks was going through Lee Harvey Oswald's head the whole way through, and what DeLillo actually thinks happens. And once Oswald is gone, we also get to see it through the perspective of Jack Ruby, and we also get to see the perspective of John F. Kennedy and what was going on through his head. It's
amazing.
God,
it's amazing.
It feels so real. It feels so real.
No doubt. Yeah, well, DeLillo read all 20 volumes of the Warren Report. I've done that, and I've read the rough drafts of the Warren Report. And here's why revision is important, Ben, because in those early drafts of the Warren Report, it says Kennedy was killed by a drunk driver. So who knows?
Wait, are you serious? Are you doing a joke?
I'm joking.
Oh,
yeah, of course. I'm
joking. It's so funny. I'm like, man, you could tell the public anything back then.
Yeah.
I mean, now you could actually tell
John F.
people anything.
Kennedy.
The viral thing on X is that a Secret Service agent like turns around in the limo and like blows JFK's head off or something with a pistol in his jacket. It's like so retarded.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, that of all the things that didn't happen most.
Yeah, there'd be like powder residue on him if the shot was that close anyway. Yeah.
The interesting thing to me is that Oswald is so friggin' nuts. He tries to relocate, to immigrate to the Soviet Union. And at first, the Soviets don't want him.
He's an idiot.
They take one look at him. He's an idiot. And they're like, oh, you're a freaking spy. But then, like, it seems like the KGB was like, nah, let him in. We'll watch him. And they set him up in a pretty nice setup, man. They gave him a good job, good pay. He met a beautiful Russian woman and got married. And then he got homesick and wanted to go back home and assassinate the president.
Well, that's before he did that, though. He slit his wrists in a bathtub and said his goodbyes.
Yeah, doesn't seem like a stable guy. Kind of seems like the type of dude that takes some shots at a president.
Well, unfortunately, he's also like a massive loser, right? Like he's such a simp for Castro, which is really like funny and like pathetic, right? So like he's I believe that doesn't he write in his diary under a different pseudonym? And his name is like James Hiddell. And his wife confronts him at one point and goes, is your name in your diary Hiddell because it's close to Fidel? And he was like, you know nothing. Shut up. Don't go through my things. Like, he's such a nerd. He's such a nerd where he's like, yeah, it sounds like Fidel. Or maybe it was letters he was writing to the newspaper under the name Hiddell. I can't remember, but he basically got on his like influences and his love for Fidel Castro, and he was really embarrassed by that. He's such a loser. Man, but that's what you need. If he is a mark, he's got to be an idiot, really, right? You don't want someone who's super savvy and like paranoid and like always thinking someone's going to get one over on them. That person's too intelligent, right? You want someone that will believe like, hey, if you kill John F. Kennedy, you're actually not going to go to prison. You're going to be you're going to be a hero. Everyone's going to love you. You're going to be king, actually.
Yeah, he's like talking to his wife. Oh, get over here. Take a picture of me with the murder weapon and a pistol on my hip.
Some people still think that is photoshopped, by the way.
I know. Okay, here's the thing, right? With any kind of, if you watched any kind of true crime stuff, I just mean like your average, some poor schmo is smoked by somebody in a parking lot and then that goes to trial. Man, if you delve deeply enough into even any local murder, you see that it's harder and harder to figure out what actually happens. Now, like, blow that up a million times into the murder of a president when there are all these extenuating circumstances. It doesn't speak well for Oswald's innocence that as soon as he fled the book depository, he shot and killed a cop.
Yeah.
That doesn't speak well for like just a patsy.
I don't care. I can't remember if that cop died or not. Did that cop die?
You know what? Now that you say that, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
That cop was just like, hey, this guy kind of matches a description of someone I think we might be looking for. And what's funny in that interaction is Oswald could have got away with it, but again, he's an idiot.
Easily. He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
He's a complete moron. It's so funny.
I mean, the people on Twitter always talking about IQ never turn that energy toward Lee Harvey Oswald. It's like, hey, you want to talk about IQ? Here's a guy we can talk about.
Yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald. So you buy actually the lone gunman theory, which I find questionable.
I know it's not based at all. It's very cringe of me to believe and back the official narrative. I don't see why they're, and I've looked, I know the magic bullet and all that kind of stuff. I've heard the evidence laid out. I've listened to it. I think it's interesting, but I don't believe there is a conspiracy because there doesn't need to be a conspiracy, because you have an expert marksman in a 6th-floor window with a scoped rifle firing at a slow moving target from 90 and then 240 feet. That's a hog killing, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's interesting, Aaron, because it seems that you're the odd man out with that.
I am the odd man out. I'm the odd man out. No, it's much more interesting to believe that, and actually, it's much more comforting to believe that JFK was killed by the CIA, the mob, the factions from
Well, it can certainly be assumed that they were happy that he got killed, because the country was going one way and then it went the other.
They didn't shed any tears,
and I do know this. I do know heroes are crucified and cowards live forever. So
that's correct. But here's the thing. Right? Is it more comforting to you to think that this great president, this beloved man, this guy that was going to make all these changes, he was young, he was glamorous, all that kind of stuff, that in order to kill him, you needed a grand conspiracy involving CIA and rogue actors and possibly Soviets and the frickin' mob? Or is it more comforting to believe that a determined Marine who was out of his mind blew the president's head off? I would personally find it way more comforting to believe that it takes a great conspiracy to bring down a great man. But that's not the truth. And we know from history that a lot of people just walk up and shoot great people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's actually more horrific to think Oswald acted alone, because that means that any person we admire could get their ticket punched, just like John Lennon did, just like Reagan almost did, just like Gerald Ford almost did. Right?
You're calling the conspiracy people like cowards almost. Like, it's not actually fantastical. Your life can end at any moment. And that's how it works.
Well, I'm not saying they're cowards. I get it. I think the stories around it are interesting. I don't think they're cowards. I don't think they're stupid or anything like that, or uninformed. I don't think any of that. I think it's comforting for people to think that there's a conspiracy around these events. It's way more interesting. It's way more fun. And it's way more depressing and horrifying to think any dummy with a rifle who's been trained to shoot can kill you. I mean, by the way, we just witnessed this past summer. That dude put a bullet through Trump's ear.
And then in the chat, they're asking if you're Jewish.
Well, I wish. Tell them I wish. Tell them I wish I was.
No, Aaron's what's it called? An Okie from Muskogee?
I'm an Okie. Yeah, I'm an Okie from Seminole County. I'm Scots-Irish. I wish I was lucky enough to belong to the Jewish people, but no, I'm just a dirty white boy.
Yep.
And now I see, this is the way conspiracy works, right? People will be like, oh, that's what a cover. He created this cover and he moved from New Jersey to the wilds of Oklahoma so he could come on a Lemon Party live stream and sell a false narrative about JFK.
Yep.
I love it. And don't ever try to discourage any rumors, because rumors are interesting. Conspiracies are interesting. Facts are boring.
Yeah. That is kind of true. That is kind of true, but I mean, listen, man, haven't we been bred to sit around the campfire and the tale of tale or two? I mean, hell, man. I mean,
do you think? But hold on a second. Do you think like the first caveman, like they were out like trying to steal someone's like venison, and then like a dude got clubbed in the head, and they get back home and they're sitting around, and one of the cavemen goes, I think there was a second clubber.
Yeah,
I think that there was someone hiding on the grassy knoll.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think it was a Jewish bear. Now, Aaron,
man, this has really gone in a dark.
I will say this,
This
Aaron.
conversation about the murder of a president has really taken a dark turn.
So here's where you fucked up bad, all right? Because I'm gonna stop you there. First of all, because you're way too binary with this. It could be nuanced. I think Lee Harvey Oswald wanted to kill the president, and also there were plans in motion that he wasn't privy to.
No, that's
so
possible.
There is a
that's
nuance.
So
it's a nuance thing. That's what DeLillo's is, right? The other thing is also they scooped out his fucking brains. The autopsy was all fucked up.
Yeah. No, the autopsy. Okay, that is a real thing, right? Like that autopsy was messed up, and it was amateur hour. And there were all these people in the room while the doctors were performing the autopsy, the surgeons, that shouldn't have been in the room. Here's the thing, man. I'm telling you, you watch any true crime series, especially any interesting one, and you'll see like all of these things start to unravel, right? Oh, why was this? Why was this? What is this coincidence? What, like anything you look deeply into enough, it begins to kind of like take all these forking paths. Someone is accusing Brett Gelman of having shot Trump. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true.
Hold on, let's hear him out. We'll have him on the show. Let's hear him out.
Oh, a guy in the chat said, I'm from Oklahoma and nobody refers to themselves as Okies except, I don't know what followed that, but he's right. I've never heard anyone say like from Oklahoma call themselves an Okie. So he's absolutely. Oh, and then I read the rest of that sentence. Never mind. By the way, I know for one thing that Le Big Mac is actually from Oklahoma because that's certainly the type of thing someone from Oklahoma
yeah, of course,
say.
It's his culture. I mean, what else do you guys have? You guys have nothing up there.
Meth. We have methamphetamines. We have militias.
Everybody has meth and militias. It's nothing. There's nothing that stands out.
Ben,
you're known because you're above Texas. You're known because of the neighbor.
My culture is not your costume. Here we go. It only takes one live stream to like just completely melt our friendship. We like completely go to war over which side of the Red River we're from. It's freaking hilarious.
Why do you think it's complete like improbable that there was more shooters than just Lee Harvey?
Okay, here's what I would say to that. It kind of begs the question. I don't see why there would need to be additional shooters.
I think to make sure the job gets done. Isn't that a fair enough Occam's razor?
Okay, so from a planning perspective, like if you were like, say it was rogue elements of the CIA, say it was Cuban dissidents, the mob, whatever. It would make sense if you were planning something to try to get the job done. But Lee Harvey Oswald is perfectly capable of doing that shooting, right? You don't need to add extra shooters to account for how the president was shot when you've got a trained Marine marksman, sharpshooter, in a window with a scoped rifle.
So my problem with him being capable of doing this is the fact that he has not killed anybody in war. He has not taken anybody's life. He has not fired at an enemy. So if he's in a situation where he actually has to kill somebody, and I mean, the way he botched a guy sitting still in his room makes me think that this guy doesn't have unfortunately, I don't think Lee Harvey Oswald has what it takes. I think he gets buck fever. He's standing up there. His legs are shaking. He can't. He's just trying to hit the road. He's just trying to hit the damn road. We're not talking about a target. We're not talking about a guy laying down with the rifle laying on a couple sandbags, and he's firing. And Aaron, you got to factor this in: cold gun. You know, firing a cold gun, it's harder to fire a cold gun.
He's firing cold bore. Here's what I would say to that: if he doesn't have what it takes, why does he shoot a cop 5 minutes later?
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair.
So the guy's out of his damn mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair, actually. That's fair. He did get paranoid, and I can't remember what he shot the cop with, if it was his own gun or something, but I know there was a scuffle. Forget the exact details.
I believe Oswald had, well, we know he had a pistol from the famous doctored photo. So, yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I haven't been able to confirm whether or not that photo is doctored, but upon looking into that famous photo of him, it's very, very suspicious. And I have not seen anybody trace the source or anything like that and confirm or deny. So,
can you bring it up for the people to see real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Everyone.
Yeah.
It's an interesting photo, right?
Let's see here. Lee Harvey. What food do you got there, buddy? I can hear a Postmates order being unwrapped.
Man, got some noodles this evening. Gonna really chow down on some noodles.
Okay, here we go. So here is the photo that supposedly is faked, Aaron. This is the one we're talking about here. That this rifle has been put in post, actually. Holding the rifle, holding the papers of him with the rifle. Right here. They're wondering if this was faked back then, so it could be, it's just forged evidence, like, oh, we got a picture of him. Just put a gun in there.
Hold on a second. Okay.
Put a gun in there. And by the way, I've seen cop footage of them throwing a gun by a black guy.
Ben, could you bring a picture up on the screen that doesn't say fake and
Well, this is the photo, though.
No, it is. Well, yeah, that's the photo.
Yeah,
that's
here.
right. Yeah,
that's it.
Okay, so in I believe Stone's JFK movie, and maybe the documentary as well, they talk about, in one photo he looks to be holding the gun with one hand, but in the other photo it's the other hand. I'm not a photographer. That could probably be explained by that thing that happens with photographs. It happens to me all the time when I try to post something, the photograph gets flipped. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a reason to believe that photo is doctored. It's not beyond the pale. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. That for what purpose? To frame Oswald?
It's just like, the people will remember it if there is some sort of, we need a token. We need to see a guy with the gun that he's,
Sure.
That's what you need. Here's the hunter. JFK was the prey. Here's the hunter. Wow, he even took a photo with the gun. Oh my God. He must have been holding that gun all the time. He was like Jimi Hendrix with his electric guitar. It probably never left his side.
I'm hesitant to even say this, but does the fact that his wife said she took the photo cut any mustard, or do you feel like that's not really relevant?
Well, it says here the Dartmouth professor finds that iconic Oswald photo was not faked, but I have no idea. I've seen stuff that broke it down. I can't find it at the moment and has explained it. So here's another thing too. If we do have confirmation that Oswald said in prison, he said to people he didn't do it. If he didn't he think people would think he's a hero, right? And that this was a good thing. So why would he deny it then?
Well, we don't know what he actually thought about why he was doing this. And before he could, they took him to Dallas, probably like the Dallas City Jail or Dallas, or that, whatever county jail was nearby. They interrogated him. A cop punched him. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
He had a big bruise, right? And apparently he did get into a scuffle with the officers when they apprehended him in the theater. So, like, he was only in custody a few hours, I believe, not very long, right?
That's correct.
When they marched him out into the parking lot, and there was Jack Ruby, and he put one in his gut, you know?
And Jack Ruby, the whole thing is very easy to explain with Jack Ruby. How he got in there.
Yeah.
He was a guy that he was a fucking loser. He would bring donuts and sandwiches to the cops all the time and be like, thank you for keeping us safe.
No, he socialized. No, and some of the strip clubs he owned were like cop hangouts in Dallas, right? So he socialized with, like, you know, officers on the force and with like lieutenants and, you know, fairly higher up people. He was one of those dudes who just wants to be around, like, anything tough. You know, they're not tough, but they think if they can get close enough to a tough guy, that makes them tough.
He was like a Richard Jewell type of guy. He was hanging out He was hanging out at the cop station all the time. It was not weird to see him whatsoever there.
No, you can even see him. There's footage of him at a press conference that the police were giving, and a reporter asked a question. I think the PR rep didn't know the answer, and Ruby answered it from the back of the room.
Do you think he went crazy in prison because someone was dosing him? Or do you think he went crazy? Yeah, do you think he went crazy? Supposedly he had visions of hell, and he was dying in the Holocaust over and over and screaming about his people and Jews and everything.
I mean, I think people who murder others in cold blood, I don't mean this in a joking way, I think they often develop serious psychiatric problems, and he probably had somewhat of a psychiatric problem before to even just decide, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw away my life to shoot Oswald.
So you've interviewed a lot of mercenaries and people who have murdered other human beings. Do you see any similarities between them and Lee Harvey Oswald? You know, a hired gun, so to speak?
No, like the people I've spoken with are way more disciplined and just way more intelligent about what they do. I mean, they would never, like, well, for one thing, they would never shoot a president. And
not
then they wouldn't
country.
do all this. Not of this country. And then they wouldn't, I mean, and then they certainly wouldn't, like, be so dramatic about everything and attract attention to themselves. And they certainly wouldn't try to get Russian citizenship.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
I mean, that's the craziest thing about Oswald. That fact alone, that at the height of the Cold War, when he's demobilized and gets out of the Marines, gets back from Japan, that he uses the fact that American base in Japan, which was a launching ground for the U-2 spy plane, right? And so, which was something obviously Russia was very interested in, the Soviet Union was very interested in, that he uses that to kind of, like, get his foot in the door to get into the Soviet Union. And the Russians were so skeezed out about it, like, they couldn't believe an American was trying to immigrate to the Soviet Union.
Yeah, they're like, who's this idiot? He was trying to get rid of his citizenship papers completely to the United States.
It's amazing, right? And then of course he's an idiot, so he gets over there and he's like, I'm homesick. I want to go home. Which you would be homesick, of course. I don't even know if he spoke Russian very well.
Of course he didn't. He's an idiot. But Aaron, regardless, you just said that he does not have the character or makeup of a hired gun, yet you believe he also did kill the president of the United States and acted alone with no contact with anybody.
That's correct. That's correct. I don't believe he had the personality of a hired gun. I think he had the personality of a lunatic that was hired by no one.
Do you think someone was going to try and kill John F. Kennedy in Miami, and that was correct intelligence that they got?
Oh, well, we know that, like, Kennedy had planned, because he was starting this campaign for 64, right? His presidential campaign. And he wanted to go to, like, certain southern cities. And, you know, the Secret Service said Miami is way too hot, especially after Bay of Pigs. You've got a lot of people pissed off at you right now, Mr. President. You can't go to Miami. We just can't. We can't, like, guarantee your safety. So Kennedy, you know, said, "Oh, okay, too dangerous. That's fine. I'll go to Dallas, Texas." Which, you know, Kennedy is a great guy. You know, he's a brilliant man.
Well, someone mentioned to them, like, hey, you probably got a lot of enemies there. You shouldn't go, you know, because they already killed Patrice Lumumba, who's one of his best friends, and he loved him. And I think Kennedy found out, like 4 weeks after the fact, that he was even dead, and that they did that, right? That we did a coup over there and had the government overthrown, and we had Patrice Lumumba killed indirectly, right? And that was to send a message to John F. Kennedy. I don't know, man. Stop me if I'm wrong on that, but he loved Lumumba. Lumumba number 5.
Everybody loves Lumumba.
So he was somehow less paranoid than Nixon, but at this time he was very, very, very paranoid, and I think he was confiding to people that he was going to be killed. So when someone said,
his favorite poem was "I have a rendezvous with death."
Oh, wow. I also know he had an autoimmune disorder, so he probably didn't feel very good. And I also was listening to some phone calls lately of him calling down to the doctor at the White House, and he goes, "Yeah, can I get some of those little blue pills? Yeah, send up the blue pills. Yeah, give me the blue ones."
Oh, I mean, the poor guy, he had a severe, so he had
Addison's disease?
Yeah, but he also had, like, a congenital spinal situation, which was grossly aggravated
by some good pussy
when he was serving in exactly. It was grossly aggravated when he when his the PT boat, right? The famous thing where he became a war hero. And, like, he, like, dragged his men, at least one man, to safety and tried to kind of stay behind. Like his men said, like, "We got to get you out of here." And Kennedy said, "You men have families. You need to, like, it doesn't matter what happens to me." And then he like carried the guy, the kind of, what are the swimmers technique, like the one arm drag or whatever it is. Like, he swam a guy to safety. The guy was legitimately brave, legitimately a great dude, was, you know, charismatic and brilliant, and from this storied crime family in Massachusetts. I don't know, I'm going to get some heat from that, but I'm sorry. Like, the Kennedys, bunch of rum runners.
Look at that. Look at him, JFK in 1947. You want to see a picture of him?
Let's see it.
Look at this. Look at this asymmetrical face he's got going on. This is 1947. He was a congressman, I think, in, like, was it Massachusetts? Look at that. Can you see that photo?
Someone in the chat just said he got his back blown out.
Sheesh. He needed some real good pussy to fix everything that was going on with him constantly. And
he got better looking.
I guess. I mean, I think
it's interesting, right?
Ladies love a kind of a goofy looking hunk, right?
But pull up like another picture.
If I had I don't have a pussy, but if I did,
well, you know.
Well, actually, these days you can get a pussy even if you're not born with one. But
well, there you go. So, but pull up another. I feel like we're, you know, kind of soft selling Kennedy's, you know, famous looks.
Oh, you want me to do young JFK?
No, like JFK 1960. Try that.
Okay. Oh, wait, well, yeah, here. Well, here's him even younger. JFK on the water in a sailing boat, gay man's Kennedy collection. That's so funny. This is a gay guy who was whacking off to portraits of JFK.
Well,
And now he's selling his stuff on
gotta have a
eBay.
hobby.
There's him.
Gotta have a hobby.
He's got to be like 25 there or something. Look at that. 9-year-old.
He's ripped. Wait.
Yeah, you're behind. I'm looking at an 8-year-old photo of him. Yeah, Aaron, we got you. Let's get him.
I saw a picture of him like with it like sitting in the pool, and he's like all jacked. Then I guess you went to a child's photo right after that.
I did.
Thanks for doing that.
Here you go. Here's a photo of him that you're probably looking for from that time period.
Now I'm just seeing the kid's photo that apparently popped up right when I said he's jacked. That's good. The chat'll definitely love that.
We got him. Confirmed, Jay.
We got him. Confirmed kill.
Sorry, I tried
1960?
I'm not really sure. It looks like 50s to me, based on the tie and everything else.
Someone in the chat wrote, "Bro's not even hot."
Yeah, and all the women in the Discord are saying, "Shut the fuck up." Yes, he is. He's clearly good looking.
Amazing. Shout out to Canadian Pie. That legit made me laugh. Bro's not even hot. Yeah, I mean that's not a great photo of him, but you know I'm no Adonis myself. Who am I to cast stones?
Yeah, I mean, look, like we said, all great men are crucified, and all cowards live forever. That is a belief of mine. Right. So you know, I think he was killed for what he believed. I don't think that Oswald acted alone. The events seem to, but I guess this is also a thing in Don DeLillo's Libra is, you know, it's isn't this the line actually from, I just read Julius Caesar, isn't it the line that Caesar delivers to Brutus before he kills him when he doesn't know he's going to be killed, and he says something about the fault is not in our stars, the fault is
in ourselves.
Well, I guess that refuses fate, I guess, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess that's it's our actions, not
the fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, and then then Caesar walks into. It's interesting, right? I mean, like Kennedy chose to ride in like an open top convertible where, I mean, the Secret Service had to have been nervous about that, right? They had to have been. But no one had assassinated a president since what? Obviously Lincoln, and then what, McKinley?
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And, you know, the Lincoln one is really, is actually the most interesting one to me. It's more interesting than Oswald, actually.
Oh, Google this real quick.
Yeah.
Bring up similarities between Lincoln assassination and Kennedy assassination. I don't think there's anything like metaphysical going on. It's just interesting. Like for one instant, you know, Oswald shot Kennedy from a book depository and ran to a theater.
There's a Wikipedia for it called Lincoln Kennedy Coincidences Urban Legend. By the way, I'm going to beat the chat to it. They're all going to say the only coincidence is the Jays, but we're moving on because I'm just going to say it before them. It is a good bit. Okay, so Lincoln and Kennedy each have 7 letters. Okay, I don't really care about that. Both presidents were elected to Congress in 46 and later to the presidency in 60. Both assassins, John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald, were born in 39 and were known by their 3 names composed of 15 letters. Booth ran from a theater and was caught in a warehouse. Oswald ran from a warehouse and was caught in a theater. The assassins were both Southerners. Both of the that's a given. Both of the presidents.
I was going to say.
Well, you think? Walt Whitman isn't. A guy like that walking up and down the streets of Manhattan in the 1800s. It doesn't have it in him to do something like this.
No.
They're too busy, looking at birds, writing poetry. They have no time to kill the president.
I never even thought about both of the president's successors were Democrats named Johnson. That's quite interesting.
Oh, wow. How about that? And were born
Andrew
in 08.
Johnson and LBJ. Yeah. Both presidents were shot in the head in the presence of their wives.
Both Lincoln and Kennedy were particularly concerned with civil rights and made their views strongly known. I did also just watch the last interview that Johnson ever gave, and he was talking about how important civil rights was in like the early 1970s, and he was meeting with a lot of black leaders, and they're interviewing him in his very like racist, like Dripping Springs, Texas living room, and he
was a big champion. He was a champion of civil rights, right? It's because of, well, not just because of Johnson, obviously, I mean, MLK and the various civil rights leaders, but Johnson really gets, it is a big part, I should say, is a big part in getting the civil rights
that was surprising to me. I wonder if he felt guilt for something, some horrible thing that he participated in. He didn't live much longer after, but with the civil rights movement, I listened to some phone calls of him. He says the hard R a lot. And I'll quote, he
was a savage, man. He was a total savage. That guy used to take his hog out in the Oval Office and show it to people. I'm not kidding.
I know.
He did that so many times that people are like, he was the first Louis C.K. basically before you would get canceled for taking your hog out. That dude just would take it out.
What's funny, by the way, is there's a recording of him. He goes, fuck, what does he say? He goes, Texas. He goes, it's hard to get white folks to vote in Texas. More hard R's are voting in Texas than whites.
Good grief.
But he would also get really drunk and like call Jackie all the time at night and stuff. I was listening to a bunch of phone calls.
You up? Yeah,
I was listening to like phone calls with him, and he just like he would call and be like, sweetheart, you didn't say goodbye to me last time I saw you. What the hell's wrong with you? So I think he had JFK killed, and he wanted to go boing boing inside Mrs. O. But
well, one of the weird things is, right, like he's so politically ambitious. He becomes president after Kennedy's assassinated, and then he's elected in 1964. And then because of Vietnam, things are in such disrepair and complete disorder in America. He gets on the television and says, I will not seek, nor will I accept my party's nomination for president of the United States, and takes himself out of play. And that's when Nixon is elected in 1968.
Okay.
Right. So the guy, that's a very unusual thing to do. Like, I mean, his championship, his championing the Vietnam War got him into a situation where he's like, you know what? I'm no longer really fit to be a president.
And am I correct when I say that trying to think of the operation. Was it Operation? Was it General McNamara said that his ship was attacked when it wasn't, and that?
Oh no, he was SecDef then, right? So that's the Gulf of Tonkin incident.
I'm looking that up.
Yeah, that's Gulf of Tonkin, right? So the admirals, I believe maybe it was the Nimitz. I may be wrong on that.
I got it right here. It says the U.S. destroyer USS Maddox reported being attacked by North Vietnamese torpedo boats in the Gulf of Tonkin.
Right. And so the sonar men were reporting a torpedo attack, and then either the captain or the admiral relayed that to McNamara's or somebody working in the Defense Department when McNamara was Secretary of Defense. And so McNamara and Johnson acted on intelligence they believed was real. And they were told that we'd been attacked, but then later on we realized we hadn't. And in response to that, Johnson began to bomb targets in North Vietnam, which escalated the war. And was it by 65, a little later, he started to send in the Marines, which he was reluctant to do. There are taped conversations with him and McNamara, where McNamara tries to keep Johnson from committing U.S. ground troops. And Johnson says, I'm scared to put the Marines in, but I'm more scared to lose our aircraft for lack of security. And McNamara says, I am too. But Johnson's really torn about it. You can hear it in his voice. I mean, he even says, when are you going to put the announcement out? And McNamara says, I'll do it later in the day to kind of mute the news of it a little bit. But boy, the disaster really ramps up then.
But they were never attacked. So whether Johnson was given false information or not, or whether he knew it was false, I guess we don't know.
I think Johnson was acting in good faith. I mean, McNamara and Johnson were told that they'd been attacked, and they responded as if we had been. And then we found out never happened.
Yeah, and this has been declassified, I'm even seeing.
Of course. McNamara talks about it quite extensively, by the way.
So, but I see, because I remember reading this a couple years ago that McNamara said he admitted that they weren't attacked, but maybe I'm misinterpreting it.
No. He said that, well, like, we weren't attacked, and we made this response, and it carries such grave consequences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
that's really
is
such
on
a
the
shame.
record. McNamara is on the record, like in the White House tapes. The LBJ was taping the conversations, just how things were then. And McNamara, first Johnson calls McNamara as soon as he's president, and he really reams McNamara out. And he says, I always thought it was foolish for you to make any statements to the president, us being, trying to get out of Vietnam. I thought it was cowardly. McNamara just, the president is calling him a coward. McNamara served in World War II. So he's like, okay. And so Johnson's like, what do all these other little countries do when they see that part of the world going to the communists, this, that, and the other. Okay. But McNamara tried to talk some sense into Johnson. He said, Mr. President, the signs I see coming out of Vietnam are disturbing signs. Like, we don't know what's going on over there. And Kennedy, McNamara had talked Kennedy into withdrawing troops, which we had military advisors. We had Green Berets. And he had about got Kennedy talked into pulling us out of Vietnam, but then Kennedy was killed.
Yeah, do you think Kennedy would have acted upon this event, or would we have been out of there at that point? I know withdrawal from countries, you can't just do it overnight. It's like a slow process, right?
Man, counterfactuals, you can never tell, right? What someone would have done and what they wouldn't have done. I think Kennedy was it seemed like he had his mind made up that we were going to pull our military advisors out, but maybe not. Maybe he would have kept them in. Maybe, that would be the story, that we're telling. So also that Stephen King book I think it's called November 22nd, 1963. Is pretty interesting. And, it has some, stuff that I'm not in love with about, time travel and all that other kind of stuff. However, like, it's got this flash forward at the end, and you expect, and I think in his version, like, Kennedy lives and the country ends up in a worse place, which is something you don't necessarily expect.
Oh, I wouldn't
Like
have
there's
guessed
this
that.
alternate
Okay.
future. Yeah, there's this alternate future where Kennedy lives, and there are all these horrific consequences, which is just as a storyteller, thinking of about like Stephen King as a storyteller. That's kind of the interesting place to take all that. But okay,
Oh yeah, go on.
yeah, go ahead.
No, continue,
No,
Aaron.
I was just going to ask because it seems like, and which is fine. Like I think you should, believe what you want to believe about it, and you've done your research as well. Do you really feel like Kennedy was killed by a conspiracy involving multiple shooters?
Yeah, because I'll tell you why. Because I think nothing gets in the way of the war machine, and I think any man who has principles, he might even, while he is running, say he doesn't want foreign expansion or this, that, and the other, and they all, they push the big kill button, and
Right.
so I think nothing gets in the way of that. If we control newspapers in other countries, if we have, and furthermore, if you like, let's not look at it on a macro level right now. Let's look at something really small. Let's look at the LAPD. Let's look at the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. There are factions that, and this is a publicly known thing, that there have been factions of white supremacists in the LAPD. There have been factions of gangs. There have been people that are working with the cartel. They are working on the behalf of gang members. They are seizing drugs and then selling them, distributing them. So on that small level, I go, well, let's look at this like we're big kids. Let's not be little kids like where we're sitting on the ground playing with like dragons and knights and stuff.
Right.
Let's look at this on a really big level, is that these are big organizations, and they're all in competition with each other. They're all withholding information from each other because they want to be top dog, right? And the evil that comes out of this is them trying to gain control, whether they think it's for the betterment of us or enriching themselves or a little bit of both. You see organizations that aren't acting like these giant cells that have one singular goal. There are factions within all of these groups. So you can't say, oh, the CIA did X or Y. It's like, I don't even know what that means. Give me names within these organizations that were doing this.
It's not a monolith. It's not a monolith like DeLillo shows, right? The CIA is a vast bureaucracy. There are people who disagree. There are rogue actors. Totally.
And then also within those factions, there are people who are rogue going against that faction.
Yes.
So
true. We know that.
It's so
the Rampart scandal proves that.
So it's actually one of these things that is so convoluted and complex and insane. It's something that raises a million questions, and you really can't answer any of them. And time is on the side of the people that did the evil. Time,
always,
time conquers all, as Harold Bloom said. What Harold Bloom said something along the lines of being outraged that one day he will die, and that's what a lot of Shakespeare is about. That time sort of comes for us all. That's what they have on their side. Witnesses die, people don't care, people move on.
Right.
Hey, you can't throw me in prison if I'm in hell, right? So, I don't know if it was just Lee Harvey Oswald, Aaron. Could you answer this in good faith? Why don't they declassify information and just give it? Why does it take so long to get the information? Why does it take the public so long to get information? And I'm taking this answer away from you right now. It does not threaten. It does not threaten national security. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that Meghan McCain bullshit right now. That they're just trying to keep us safe. Like, well, the president's in a group text about who he's bombing right now, and we can all see it. So, like, and it doesn't affect anything. So,
here's what I would say. Here's what I would say, honestly. If you have an investigation on the scale that you had people like Alan Dulles, who was on the Warren Commission, you have all these people, and you begin to necessarily, in like a closed investigation, to get into all kinds of sources and methods, to talk about intelligence assets. You also open a really painful wound that is the Bay of Pigs debacle, right? Which you don't want the public to focus on any more than they already have. It was a huge embarrassment. Now, you want to talk about a coup? That was basically a coup by the CIA, right? They were running all these camps. They were going to stage this big invasion of Cuba.
Yeah.
And Kennedy got wind of it. And he's like, no, we're not going to do this. You're out of your mind.
And
right?
that gave us definitive proof also, amongst all that muck, that they would be willing to let innocent citizens of the United States of America die to get us into a war. That they would stage. So we down now, we go, oh, we are disposable as, hot sauce packets at the bottom of a Taco Bell bag,
But who? Okay, A, I've never disposed of those packets. I squeeze them right into my mouth. And B, of course we're disposable. When have citizens of any country not been disposable to the elites and power brokers?
I don't know. I like to think things are a little bit different in like Switzerland or something. I've seen pictures. It's very lovely. There's not trash everywhere. It's not there's no like 7-Elevens with like an Indian guy screaming at a black guy.
Never like the Swiss. Make them little clocks. These two cocksuckers come out of these doors. These little hammers hit each other on the head. What kind of sick mentality is that? That's a quote from a David Mamet movie, by the way.
Very good.
No, I have nothing against the Swiss. I don't know any Swiss people, but
that would be weird if you did.
Yeah, that would kind of be weird if I did, right? Yeah, I think all those countries look all peachy and really great from the outside, and I think they have all their own set of problems too.
Yeah,
man. By the way, like, okay, I'm not saying this in a dramatic way. It's not a big deal. I've been privy to a couple of secrets that people just say that work for the government have relayed to me over the years.
Oh, we're getting big scoops here. I will say that we're getting big scoops here.
Yeah. Here's the big scoop. Here's the big scoop. Every secret they've told me is so boring, no one would be interested in it. And you can't even understand why it's a secret.
Sorry, I was looking at something in the chat. What'd you say?
The secrets are all boring. I've been told secrets. Every secret you hear?
You told me something about basic training for a specific group of people that I found interesting as hell. I don't even think you can talk about that.
No, I can't talk about that. But
it's so good. I've never talked about it on Lemon Party, even as obviously out of respect to you. But fuck, it's so good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, but I will say one thing. I've corresponded with Eric Haney a little bit. He was one of the first operators in Delta Force, and he said the most closely guarded secret in the special operations community is the time limit it takes for Delta candidates to complete a particular course, right? So you're given a 45-pound rock, you're set off through the woods, you have to hit all these certain waypoints, and you don't know what the time limit is for that particular selection event. So everyone is like constantly kind of, am I ahead? Am I behind? It really messes with you. And only the commandant, I believe, or the commanding officer of the unit knows that particular secret. Now, that sounds about as unsexy a thing a secret as I can think of.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not interesting. And
Yeah.
that's the most closely guarded secret in special operations.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of this stuff is you don't. I mean, you don't think any of the secrets are interesting at all? None of it is.
I'm sure that I don't know all the secrets, so I'm sure that there are secrets I'm not privy to that are plenty interesting. But I think most of the secrets would bore us to absolute tears. I really believe that. The ones I've learned, I've been like, so what about Sasquatch?
Yeah. What about Project Blue Book? Yeah, stuff like that. What about
That stuff sounds interesting. That's pretty much an open secret, right?
It seems that they're like slowly rolling out that they've confirmed they've been in like contact with aliens or something. I don't really know what's going on right now. There's some weird op
Like,
going. Sean Ryan's really
all
running
that
with it,
stuff
by the
is
way. Your buddy.
yeah, and you have no greater friend in the world than Mr. Sean Ryan.
I'm unfortunately making a lot of enemies right now, and I need to calm down.
It's just been I mean, sometimes I open Twitter and I'm just like, all right, who's it going to be today? Who's been going to war with? And then I was really surprised when I just, usually it's like Brett Gelman, but I was really surprised to discover, oh, Ben's going to war with the Navy SEALs. I'm like, is this the move right now? I don't know if this is the best move.
The guy with a bunch of confirmed kills I'm talking shit to. It is a little bit like, oh, wow, the ego on me. But, to me, they're just like guys on my phone. They're not real.
I think it's fun. I mean, and listen, Sean Ryan's a big podcaster. He's got a big show. He has a bunch of people on. They talk a lot of crap. And so, if I think you put yourself out there like that, you kind of get as good as you give, or however that cliche goes.
Yeah, I mean, also, by the way, I want Sean Ryan to know, if he's listening right now, if I run into you, it's on site, bitch. How about that? Yeah, come at me, bitch. I've been stretching my hip flexors and everything, so I can kind of I can almost touch my toes now. So you think about that when you come at me, bitch. If I ever run into you at a place I'm at, like Chick-fil-A or Panda Express or the Indian restaurant by my house or the putting green I go to sometimes, if you're ever at one of those 4 places, it's on site, bitch.
Dude, if you're ever in the Malibu Guitar Center when I'm buying microphones, bitch, it's on. It's on.
I guess maybe I feel too safe because I actually don't leave my house because, it's this if you live in a place like LA, it's kind of like when you leave, there's a lot of anxiety because you leave and you see crazy ass shit. People don't really want to accept that.
I live in the woods, and when I leave, there's a lot of anxiety.
Really? Even where you are you seeing people walking around with AR-15s and shopping carts and stuff?
No, just paranoid. I don't know if one of these like Sean Ryan guys is going to come for me. They hear this podcast and they're like, I got you, brother. Then I wake up. Now, if I'm killed, it is a conspiracy.
That's true, yeah, because, well, I guess it could be random, right?
But at least put it out there that get the lemon heads on the case. I want you guys investigating it like Kevin Costner and JFK. I want you down in Charlotte, right? Downtown Charlotte. And you're like, look over there. That's the headquarters of Tinder. That's the headquarters of Uber.
Is that true?
We're through the looking glass now. No. But I don't know. It'd just be hilarious that I get smoked by some moron, and then the Lemonheads turn into a vendetta. You guys are watching the film like it's the Zabru film.
Aaron Gwyn did not kill himself. We start a whole movement. Get your death trending.
Yeah. It would be amazing. Get my death trending. Get a lot of people looking into it.
Did you guys
Joe Rogan Joe Rogan is like, listen here, man. You know, the stuff that happened with Aaron Gwyn is very weird, man.
Yeah, Joe's talking about you.